Take a deep breath and answer honestly. What would happen if the world found a simple, inexpensive, and definitive cure for cancer? It would be wonderful, right? You'd be wrong. Today, I'm going to tell you the darkest secret of modern science. This isn't just a story of discovery. This is a story of betrayal and suppression, where saving lives became a direct threat to the profit margins of a global industry. Our contract is simple. By the time you finish this video, when you look at a drug's price tag or question a treatment's legality, you won't just be focusing on science. You'll be looking into the shadows of financial coercion. What do you think the primary goal of major pharmaceutical companies is? To heal us, or merely to keep us just sick enough to require their medication for the rest of our lives? Our story begins in the early 20th century, when a genius emerged with a low-cost, radical method of treatment. But how was that hope crushed by the greed of the richest and most powerful lobby in the world? Let's begin. But be warned, what you are about to hear may shatter your trust in the medical establishment. Imagine this. What if we had a technology that claimed it could destroy the root cause of a major disease, not by changing the body's chemistry or through surgery, but just with a simple frequency? Would the medical world embrace it? No, it would destroy it. Our protagonist is a brilliant inventor who thought far ahead of his time. His core idea was simple. Microorganisms or cells causing a disease could be annihilated by sending a specific radio frequency to them, much like a glass shatters when it hits its resonant frequency. Simple, harmless, and completely different. In the 1930s, this inventor created his own ray machine. Allegedly, he achieved incredible successes in treating many diseases, including cancer, using this device. Why? Because his treatment targeted the root cause, not just the symptom, and most importantly, it was dirt cheap. A few low-cost treatment sessions could replace years of drug dependency or expensive surgical operations. This genius believed he had found the formula for healing. But he failed to account for one thing: the financial resonance. He failed to calculate how a device costing a few $100s would utterly shatter the profit frequency of a multi-billion-dollar drug industry. This inventor's successes made headlines, and even respected medical authorities supported the treatment. So how did this success story suddenly vanish overnight? This is where money unequivocally took precedence over science. If a treatment proves that it works, is that a threat to a profit model or a triumph for humanity? For big industry, the answer was clear. The mid-1930s were the golden age for this radical frequency treatment. The small clinical trials and patient testimonials were astonishing. People flocked to this new method when traditional medicine had given up hope. Doctors were astounded by the treatment's low cost and incredible efficacy. However, this enthusiasm caught the attention of a colossal shadow: the traditional medical establishment and its financial backers. For them, this was not just a scientific debate. This was an attack on their business model. Cancer and chronic diseases were the source of continuous revenue for the major pharmaceutical corporations and their associated hospitals. A cure, a one-time solution, would completely halt this revenue stream. The math is simple. Developing and patenting a new, expensive drug meant guaranteeing billions of dollars over 20 years. Whereas our genius inventor's frequency device was a one-time purchase. The decision was simple. Even if the device worked, it was financially unsustainable. Destroying it was necessary for the industry's survival. So, how did the global industry giants manage to ignore public hope and scientific evidence? This is where the art of turning science into legal and media weapons comes into play. For a treatment to be deemed valid, it must first be cost-effective. But this equation wasn't written for patients. It was written for shareholders. Let's look at the pure economics behind this drama. How did financial power override science? First, patent limitations. The technology behind the alternative frequency treatment was not a patentable drug formula. It was a patentable method, but it was easily copied and could quickly become cheap. This did not guarantee massive profit. Second, the annual revenue stream. In the traditional treatment model, the patient remains tethered to the system for years. Every cycle, every prescription means continuous cash flow. A cure, a one-time solution, would instantly reduce this cash flow to zero. And third, risk and investment defense. Major pharmaceutical companies invest billions of dollars in the research and development of a new drug. The return on this investment is only possible if the treatment captures a large share of the market. A low-cost rival technology had the potential to render these billions of dollars in investment worthless overnight. The major financial powers saw the inventor's device not as a cure, but as a threat, and threats are not negotiated. They are destroyed. This brilliant scientist suddenly found himself in the middle of legal battles and smear campaigns. When you become the target of a multi-billion-dollar force, does the truth even matter anymore? In a war where money rules, scientific evidence is not the ammunition. Legal regulations and media perception are the ammunition. The discrediting of the treatment occurred through a brutal four-stage process. First, the regulatory blocker. Top medical institutions and legal regulators, who had strong ties to the industry, declared the frequency device scientifically unproven. The required standards for testing were designed for chemical drugs. They were unsuitable for frequency technology. Thus, the device was pushed into illegal status. Second, legal pressure. The inventor's supporters and investors faced relentless, expensive lawsuits. The goal was not to win, but to financially drain them. The scientist and his team had to spend all their money and energy fighting in courtrooms. Third, the media attack. Major media organizations launched a comprehensive smear campaign, labeling everyone using the device as charlatans. Patients' successful testimonials were ignored. Failed cases were sensationalized. And fourth, the erasing of records. Perhaps the most terrifying step, all evidence and records were systematically destroyed. Laboratory records vanished, devices were sealed, and supporting doctors lost their careers. Our genius inventor spent the rest of his life in financial and moral ruin. This battle seemed to have been won in the 1940s. But an idea, especially when alleged to work, never truly dies. So how does this suppressed technology continue to live today? Today, hundreds of thousands of people are searching for this technology. This has become less a scientific reality and more a symbol of distrust in the system and lost hope. The legacy of the genius scientist never made it into official medical textbooks, but it continued to live underground. In the alternative market, hundreds of different devices and treatment protocols based on this frequency theory are sold online. While their efficacy remains highly debated in the official scientific world, they continue to be a beacon of hope for those who are desperate. This story forms the foundation of the current distrust in the modern healthcare system. People ask, if Big Pharma buried a cure in the 1930s to protect profit, aren't they doing the same today? This justified suspicion highlights the perpetual conflict between ethics and financial interest. And the financial pressure continues. Even today, stem cell therapies, gene therapies, and other potential one-time solutions clash with the business models of established drug giants. History shows us that the lower the cost of a potential cure, the harder it is for that cure to gain official legitimacy. The final lesson: healing is not always the most profitable path. And for global financial powers, a chronic revenue stream is always more valuable than a one-time miracle. Now, after listening to this story, what will you think the next time you see a drug commercial? Remember, this video tells the story of a colossal injustice that happened just 80 years ago. It reminds us that science is in the hands not just of scientists, but also of lawyers, bankers, and lobbyists. Health is our most personal asset, and this story shows that even that asset can be controlled by a price tag. If this deep dive research made you think, and you want us to expose more systemic secrets like this, please hit that subscribe button. By liking the video, You help this information reach more people. Until we lift the curtain on the next secret, keep your health and your financial skepticism high. Goodbye.